Descending is great fun, but it can also be dangerous, so priority number one is staying safe. So here's GCN's tips on how to do exactly that. Knowing your own limits is really important, and there's absolutely no shame at all in taking things steady if you're not a confident descender. But don't let other riders coax you into going at speeds that you're simply not comfortable with.
No, descending is not really something which you want to learn from through your own mistakes. So just go at your own pace, and what you'll find is that over time, your confidence will grow.
Looking pretty confident there, Dan.
The most obvious piece of advice is to look ahead. You should be constantly scanning the road for corners and hazards so that you can act accordingly. And you should be concentrated throughout, don't let anything distract you. This is going to allow you to judge your speed and braking, which you should do in plenty of time before any hazard.
There are a number of road hazards which you should be looking out for when you're descending, such as a gravelly surface, a loose surface, or a wet surface. Avoid them if you possibly can, because it means you're going to have less grip between your tyres on the road. However, if you have no choice at all, there are a couple of things to bear in mind when you're on that kind of surface. Firstly, avoid braking sharply, as you're much more likely to lock your wheels up. And secondly, don't lean your bike too much when you've got less grip.
Now this may sound like a little bit of a strange one, but mapping on your head unit can really help give you knowledge of what's coming up next, which is especially helpful on mountain descents like this one.
Now, we're definitely not advocating fixating your glare onto the head unit as you are descending. However, a very quick glance, when it is safe to do so, can give you a hell of a lot of knowledge on exactly what's coming up and what you've got to deal with. And as Matt said, that can be especially useful on mountain descents around blind corners where you're not quite sure what's coming up afterwards, if it's going to sharpen up, or indeed if it's going to lead to a hairpin bend like this one.
If you are visiting the mountains but you normally live in a flat area, then it is very easy to get overexcited and imagine that you're dropping Peter Sagan on a Tour de France descent. Well, you're not in a Tour, but you are on an open road along with some very hard lumps of metal called cars, and it's important that you ride appropriately. That means not crossing the central white line unless it is absolutely safe to do so, and that means being able to see a long way ahead of you, but also checking behind to see that there's nothing that might overtake you when you're not expecting it.
This should go without saying, but however careful you are on a descent, you're only as safe as your equipment is. So make sure that your bike is in tip-top order. That means brakes that work, tyres that are at the correct pressure, with plenty of rubber left on them and no slits, gashes or cuts. And also bolts that are tightened to the correct torque. With our huge library of maintenance videos, there is no excuse not to check things and resolve any problems before you ride. Now, if you're yet to subscribe to the Global Cycling Network, you can do so by clicking on the globe, which you will see on the screen. If you'd like to purchase the GCN kit, which you've seen worn in this video, head to shop.globalcyclingnetwork.com. Now, you can click in the bottom right-hand corner for 6 pre-ride bike checks, and you can click in the bottom left-hand corner for how to improve your braking.